Anyway, yesterday we saw a machlokes between Rav Nechemia and the Chachamim when if a person hits somebody and Beis Din evaluates that person is going to he's going to die as a result, and he recovers, and then he dies. So the Chacham says chayiv, and Rav Nechemia said, "But you're pata." Rav Nechemia said you're pata. Rav Nechemia said you're pata. So we saw, Johnny, we have to be quiet if you want to stay. Anyway, so we saw the pasuk v'chiyiriv and anoshim v'hiku ish esrayeu be'evan abegraf v'layamos v'nafal l'mishkav im yakim v'salich b'chutz amashanta v'nika makeh. If he gets up, v'nika makeh. If he gets up, the makeh, he's what? He's good. In other words, even though he's going to die afterwards, but if he gets up, you're good. The Chum said no. The Chum said that's for to teach me v'nika makeh, that you put him in prison until you find out. So if he gets better, then you let him out. Not. Okay. What? There's no matter of time. He dies. I don't know. It's not. There's a din of yomu yamayim by an eved. But I don't know if there's a din of yomu yamayim here by a person. They were omer that this person is going to die. They may not mean, and so therefore, if he dies, I can't imagine if he dies 10 years later, man. He dies within a reasonable amount of time. They would die as a result of this. Okay, Ellie, come here. Come here. What's his name? Johnny, come. Yeah. Hurry up. Huh? Look who's here. So we had those two opinions, right? And that's the way you dash in the pasuk. Now the Gemara, we basically, again, I'm showing the psukim over here on the board. You have them yesterday on yours. If you're telling me there's a lot of extra words over here, if you're just telling me that the guy gets better, that you pay rak shiftan yitain v'rapa yirape, you don't have to say that what v'layomos im yakam v'salich b'chutz al mishanta v'nika hamake. That's extra. And v'layamos, according to Rabbi Nechemia, v'layamos, these words are extra. So we're going to have these two extra words, v'layamos and im yakim b'salich b'chutz. These are extra, and as a result, here's the format of the Gemara. Late Rabbi Nechemia, we have a need for the two extras. Like the Chachamim, we only have a need for one, and then the Gemara is going to make a diak which two. But to really, let's look at Rashi, guys. This is the only Rashi that we're going to spend a lot of time on. Bishleim Reb Nechemia. It's the first on Ayin Chesamid Beis. It's the Rashi, the last Rashi before the lines get wide. Bishleim Reb Nechemia, the Amar v'nika hamakeh. That nika hamakeh means the person walks clean as long as he got up. So therefore, the right say the one who hit him walks away. Lamdu lemisa v'hakol, and he got better. V'chaza v'hichbid, then it got stronger again. Asa hainu dechsiv trei kroi yisera. You got two extra psukim. Let's just see what the two extra psukim are. One, la'umdina de'imbal ledmu shachayv b'chaver chayiv. Be'ripui v'sheves kidemasik shifta yitain. If that's the only thing it's coming to teach me, nichtayv. Here's the pasuk what it should read. V'hikir esrayeu, you hit your friend. Be'evenoi be'egroif. V'nafal l'mishkav, and he falls in his bed. And then he gets better. Shifta yitain rapa yirape. V'layamus is yiseruhu lemedrash. V'chein im yakum v'shalech b'chutz is extra. So those words are extra. Good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the Gemara beforehand. I sent it out. I made a little chart. You should have in front of you, and this will facilitate understanding the Gemara quickly. Okay, you see the chart, the guys over here. You see it? Is it a chart? Help me out here. Good. Okay. So now, the pasuk, we have two psukim. Im yakum b'salich b'chutz v'nika hamakeh, and we have lo yamos. So according to Reb Nechemia, he's going to use the pasuk Im yakum b'salich b'chutz to teach me they were omer that he's dead, he got better, and then he died. So that's what he learns from. That's what he learns from that v'nika hamakeh. That knows that he's going to be what? he gets off the hook. He's pata. V'nika maka. As long as the guy was omid what? Lamisa and didn't die initially, v'nika maka. What did the Rabbanim do with that? That they learned that if they were omid for death and he got better and he stayed better, you don't have to pay. If he omid the death, right? So you might you don't kill him. That you don't kill him. You don't kill him. That's Rashi. Because Taisus says a problem with Rashi. L'chayr, why would you kill him? Right. So Taisus answers that you might think that he should get off the hook paying. I'll come later the Rabbi. Since they went ahead and touched up that he's going to die, maybe you should get off the hook for paying. Kamash when you don't. That's the way Taisus learns. But again, this is what Reb Nechemia and the Rabbanan do with the pasuk. What about the second part of the pasuk? Be'evenoi be'egroi v'lo yamus. Right, that's extra. So Reb Nechemia dash as if the same way as the Rabbanan dash in the first pasuk, that if he was oimid for Misa and he lived, you don't do anything to him. And what did the Chacham say? That if they were oimid him for life and then he died, that he doesn't die. In other words, if they said they evaluated the makkah, they said that's not enough, you're not going to die, and he did die, you don't kill him. So that's the drushes from this pasuk. So let's see it inside, and we'll be good. Bishleim, back in the Gemara, guys, where the lines get wide, about 6 lines up. We're up. Bishleim, Nechemia, who says if they were in the death, he got better, and then he died, he's pater. Hainu dechsibi trei umdene. You have 2 psukim. Chad umduhu, one of them is lemisa v'chaya. One is to teach me that lemisa, they were oimid lemisa, and he lived, that you don't have to pay. V'chad umdu lemisa, they were oimid that he's going to die. V'hakal, and he got better, and then Madi died. Good. That's what we saw in the chart. And Memashahaya, El Rabbanon, who says one is for the one is for Kvishu, is why do you need 2 psukim for? El Rabbanon, Trei Lamali. They hold that, guys, if you were Armi Lemisa, you got better and you died, you'd chayev. So why do they use it for? And for the Gemara, Chadam du Lemisa v'chaya, right? That's the second one. Lemisa v'chaya, they said you're going to die and then you got better. And then you got better that you don't have to pay. According to Taisvis, according to Rashi, you don't get killed. And v'chadam du l'chayim u'meis. One that they were oimid that the guy's going to live, and in fact, he died. That you don't die. Okay? And Rashi puts in how exactly it fits in the pasuk. Okay. Now, basically, this is the same thing to the Mishnah. Reb Nechemia amdu l'chayim u'meis leitzarach kra. Reb Nechemia, that they oimid that this guy is going to live, and then he dies. You don't need a pasuk to tell me he's off the hook, right? Shari Yotzim and Bezdin Zakai. Well, guys, he hits a guy, they go to court. Doctors check him out. He's going to live. Bezdin says, forget about Misa. You'll pay the guy. Dini Mominus, but then you're off the hook. Then the guy dies. Says, I don't need a person to tell me. Bezdin found him guilty. Just because he died, I don't have to. Again, Taisa, obviously, Rabbanan disagree. Tell Rabbanan. Hamakes Chavei, someone hits his friend. V'amdu Misa. And the oimid that he's going to die, v'chaya, and he lives. Paitrin I say, everyone agrees with that. Okay, pater I say. Again, machlekes Rashi and Taisvis, what that means, but he's off the hook.
People make mistakes. Why should he be off the hook? He did die.
Excuse me.
Doctors make mistakes. Sorry.
He didn't make a mistake. They didn't make a mistake. Amdul Lemisa, this is Bezdin. They omid Lemisa. There's no mistake over here. For all intents and purposes, he's going to die. The doctors make mistakes. That's in real life. This is Gemara.
Yeah, okay, that's why I'm not arguing with you.
Of course you're not arguing because you're going to get to Uncle Elliot.
I used to say but.
Yeah. It's amazing. I told him not to say but. Yeah, because but means I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kick you in there. Anyway.
He thought it was 5. Look at him now. Finally got it.
Take him a little. Okay, so now, so
Sorry.
again, the same thing. Hamakas chaver v'amdu l'misa v'chaya paitrin I say amdu l'misa v'hakol. And then mimashahaya mashahaya, good. Now oimid I say oimid sheni lemamin. So he got better. Now they make it. Now if he was going to die, he's off the hook from paying as kamle. But now he got better, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to now evaluate how much you owe him. V'mla'acha kain hichbiru meis. Halachacha oimid emtsoi dirim nechemia. You have to pay. Guys, you hear this? Watch, let's go through it. He was Oimid Lamisa. And then all of a sudden, Shoin, they got it wrong. Now he's living. So guess what? You're not walking away scot-free. You're going to be Oimid for mommy. And then he dies. So the question is, do you go after the first Oimid and he's off the hook monetarily, or do you go after the middle one? Guess what? You go after the middle one. Halachach Oimid Amsai, Divreb Nechemya. The Chachamim Oimrim, Ein Oimid Achar Oimid. You're not going to be Oimid the second time. Why? Once, that's it. Tanya Idach, Amdu Lamisa, Oimdim Maisai Lachayim. Okay, now Oimdim Lamisa. They were Oimid him Lamisa, and then L'chayri got better, and Oimdim Maisai Lachayim. I'm not reading it right. I'm reading it right, but that's Pshat. So Oimid Isa, there was an Oimid for what? For Misa. There was Oimid, they were Oimid him for Misa, and then what happened was he got better. He got better. So Oimid Lamisa, they were Oimid him Lamisa, and Oimid Maisai L'chayim. If he gets better, L'chayim. So I think it means if they were oimid lemisa and then he gets better, we're oimid l'chayim. What does Rashi say? Let me see Rashi. I thought I understood this. Oimid lemisa, oimid l'chayim. Rashi. Imra'inu shahakol. If you see, he's got better. Guys, about 8 lines from the bottom. But loyam mina, we don't say hoyel v'yotzmi bezin chayiv harizeh yerag, right? So in other words, we don't say since that this guy was found guilty, you kill him. But I'm going to say l'chayim, you then evaluate what the person. L'chayim, then ein doim misal lemisa. Loima to say Rashi teinu b'oimid rishon. We made a mistake with the first amida. L'chayva to mechayv misa. So yotzim bezdin zakai. Ramina machmas chayliacha shabo lo vichbir amaka. Okay, so now let's see it again one more time. Tanya Idach. Amdu Lemisa, if you're Oimid Lemisa and he got better, then Oimdim Maisal L'chayim will be Oimid L'chayim. L'chayim, if you Oimdim L'chayim and then he dies, ain't Oimid Maisal Lemisa. Amdu Lemisa v'hakol, Mima Shahaya, Oimdim Maisai, Oimid Sheni L'mamin. The Ma'acha can hich b'rumeis Mishalayim Nezek B'tzar L'yarshim, that's like with Nechemia, right? Because the Chum not paying. Maybe say Mishalayim, Mishashi Ko, Ustamah Kereb Nechemia. Because again, if you're going to pay money, obviously you're not dying. Because if you're dying, you're going to say "Come Levi Rabbi." Meaning,
they would say Dayanim aren't allowed. Once the Sakdin was
that this is separate psak. This is an amida for mamnistic amida, not a different psak. I paskin. This is no psak over here. This guy killed. There's no question about that. Rav Avi. He killed. Now he got better. Is there monetary payment or not? That's it.
No, but the sack's given. It's just that whether he has to enforce the sack.
No, it's two different things. There's and then guys, you were oimid him b'misa. Everyone holds oimid b'misa. Guy's not paying a dime. Kamle. Now he got better. Is there a monetary chiyuv or not?
But
The second amida is.
It was a psak, and then he had to get his oimid because of psak.
But again, you're not changing the psak.
You're not changing the
That's what I'm saying. He's saying. I just wanted to tell him you're not changing the psak.
Right.
It's a monetary evaluation. Okay, now niskaven lahari gesa behema. Okay, big long mishnah, but again, my big machlokes. Niskaven lahari gesa behema. Your kavon is to kill an animal. Now, obviously, you're not going to have a chiyav misa with that. V'hari gesa adam, and you kill a person. Lo'ivit kichavim. You go ahead and mechavim to kill an Eini Yehudi, which you would not be mechayiv misa for. V'hari gesa Yisrael. So these, in other words, the action I wanted done is not going to be mechayiv misa. That was my kavanah was not to have a chiyav misa. But in the end, I did something that's mechayiv misa. Linefalim, to hit a child that's going to die. For haragas bet ben kayama, and you hit someone's going to live. In all these cases, pata. In all these cases, there's no machlokes, you pata. All machlokes. Why? Because initially I went to go ahead and hit someone that I would not be mechayiv for. Niskaven lahakes al masnav. I want to hit a person on literally his loins, but in a place where it's not going to go ahead and kill him. It didn't have enough power if it would hit him in that part of his body to kill him. However, if you hit him in another part of the body, it would. And he ended up hitting him in his heart. Now, umeis pata. It'd still be pata. So again, in the first case, your kavana was for kedei lahamis, but it was either an animal or a guy or an ephel. But so the reason you pata is why? Because your kavana was for not. Over here, it's interesting. You didn't want to. Where you had kavana to go ahead and hit the guy, it was not kedei lahamis, but you ended up hitting in a place where it was kedei lahamis. Still pata. You still be pata. If you're miskaving to go ahead and get him in his lave, and in that you did have the amount of power to kill him. However, in other words, so this is the inverse of the previous case. I wanted to go ahead and hit him in his heart to kill him, and I did have enough power to hit him in his heart, but I ended up hitting him b'masnav, right? I ended up hitting him b'masnav, right? And there I didn't have power to kill him, but he actually died. Potter, you potter. Niskavin lahakos es hagadol, v'lehoya b'koyach k'dei lahamis hagadol, and it didn't have koyach to hit the gadol. The whole chala ala cotton and ended up going to a cotton. V'hoya b'k'dei lahamis a cotton umeis potter. Niskavin lahakos es a cotton, v'hoya b'k'dei lahamis is a cotton. The whole chala ala gadol v'lehoya b'k'dei lahamis is a gadol umeis potter. Again, same. Aval. Niskavin lahakos al moisnav. You want to hit him in his loins, and you had power to hit him in his loin. Ali boy, and it ended up going to what? His heart. Because why? Certainly, if you had power to hit him in his loin and kill him, when it comes to the individual body, right? Well, and you had power to in a certain spot, and then you go to the lowest spot, so it's as if you had what? Kavanah to kill him. Because again, you had kavanah for strong point A and you got weak point B, so it's like 100 with b'chal 200, 100 with b'chal 200.
The difference where you hit him, you had kavanah to kill him and you did it.
What? My kavanah was to hit you in your loins. Good.
Yeah, but I'm gonna kill
You just said yeah, but you told me you don't say but anymore. Mamish, you say to yourself. One second.
I'm sorry.
We got a video.
I'm sorry.
We have it on tape over here.
Sorry,
Again, you're looking at the whole person. Mendy, if you again you see from the first part of the ratio of the Mishnah, they're disagreeing with you. If you have kavanah to hit a person like this, right, and that's garnished with garnished, and then you hit, and that instead of going here, it goes here. And the person, you're going to say, 1 second, your kavanah was, what does that mean? It didn't have kedei lahamis here. It had kedei lahamis here. I wanted to hit you here. Divide up the individual. Again, in order to kill a person, you have to get him. You take a knife and you hit a person in his hand over here. He's not dying. You got to get him in the right spot. So now. If you have kavanah Now, you would think that Reb Shimon is going on that last line, but he's not. Guys, here's the way it should read. I'm giving you the Gemara. Here's the way it should read if Reb Shimon's arguing on the last point. What was the last point? Let's read it again. Your kavanah is lahakas es hagadol, v'hoya ba kedei lahamis es hagadol, v'hol chulei ala cotton umeis chayiv. It should say Reb Shimon oimer potter. Right? That's what it should say if he's arguing on that. But he goes, I feel in this kavanah potter. What's Reb Shimon going on, guys? He's going on the inference of the Reisha. He's going on the inference of the Reisha. If you're mechavin to go ahead and hit a guy, and you hit a Jew, you pata. What happens if you mechavan to hit a Jew and you hit another Jew? You be chayiv. Says of Shimon Yapata. In other words, Shimon is going on the inference of the Resha. Again, one more time. What's the Resha? Niskavin laharis esa akum v'horig esa Yisrael pata. The inference is Niskavin laharig esa Yisrael v'horig esa Yisrael. You be chayiv. On that, Rav Shimon saying Yapata. And that says the Gemara. Rav Shimon Ahei. What's Rav Shimon going on? Ilema Seifa. If he's going on the din of the Seifa, the Gadol and the Cotton, Rav Shimon poitami boile. It's just Rav Shimon says Yapata. Ella, it's going what? Aresha. It's going back on this Resha. Niskav laris behem v'hargas adam la'oived kichavim v'hargas Yisrael linafolim v'hargas ben kayama pata. Haniskav lahargas ezeh v'yimcham to get one Jew v'hargas ezeh chayev. Rav Shimon Oimer, I feel in the skam l'hargazeh plata. Right? He went plata. That's what he's going on. Okay. So now, right now, what do we have for the rest of the daf, guys? Machloikis Rav Shimon the Chachamim. The skam l'hargazeh, or yichayev or yipata. Says Rav Chachamim yichayev. Says Rav Shimon yipata. That's what we're going to focus on. Now, different cases. Pshita. Koi Ruvain v'Shimon. V'Amar. I wanted to get Ruvain. L'Shimon lo kamechavna, and I wasn't mechavin for Shimon, and I got Shimon. Hainu pluktayu. That's the machlokes, right? Miskavin l'horig ezeh, v'horig ezeh. Says the Chachamim Yechayev. Says Shimon Yipata. Omar l'chad minayu mai. Rashi, guys. Omar l'chad minayu. Go up a little bit. Omar l'chad minayu kamechavna. Leichbus l'chai minayu. I was mechavin for one, but I don't care. I'm not naming anybody. Mai. What's the din? Now, l'Reb Shimon mikri loy miskavin loy. It's called considered miskavin for him u'mechayev. Idilma kivin di ozla iduch. If the other one would leave, the shavik leilahai, and leave this guy here, havinami nichalei lav miskavin hu. In other words, he gets. I don't care which one I get, and he gets one. What? So what's the svara part to him? Because if the other guy would leave, he'd be happy with the one guy. In other words, so it's not considered miskavin for this particular guy. My, what's the din? Inami, another possibility. Kasava Ruvain, v'nimtza Shimon. My, he thinks it's Ruvain, and in other words, he thinks he's getting one, he gets another. Let's see Rashi. Inami, lahaka says aguf hazeh. He wants to get this particular body. Avol kasavahu shu Ruvain. In other words, he thought this body was Ruvain's. The nimtza Shimon. Mi amrinan kivin de lahai gufa iskaven miskaven huloi. Ideal kivin de lahai gavra loy ichaven patalei Shimon. Guys, listen to this. There's not two guys here. One guy, but he thinks that guy is Ruvain, and it's not. You're hired as a hitman, and you get the wrong guy. Like Rav Shimon, you chayav or not. In other words, do we say mechaven lahara gazeh, you need two bodies? And he mistakes one body for another body. What about there's only one body? But he thinks that one body is somebody else. Is that considered, and we're going to see the pasuk, is that considered loy or not? So again, very interesting lumdus over here. One, the first shiler is, I don't care which one I get. Like Rav Shimon, since one works away, his kavanah wasn't makoyim. What about one person, and he thinks that person's another person? What's the din? Inami ksava Ruvain b'nimtza Shimon mai tashma. The Tanya Rav Shimon Omer at sheyomer leploini, and Rav Shimon says chayiv at sheyomer leploini ani miskavin. Until for ploini I'm mechavin perish. So Rav Shimon would pat you in both those cases. Say, yeah. Again, but that's not the pasuk. Where's the chiyuv of Ritzich in the Torah? That's in the 10 Commandments. Maka Adam. You'll see the pasuk. Okay, you have a pasuk. Devarim your test, guys. State in the pasuk. Devarim your test. Guy hates his friend. V'orav loy, he ambushes him. V'kam alav. V'orav loy. Rav Shimon says loy. It's got to be him. That's why Rashi kept on hacking the loy. V'orav loy. V'kam alav. V'yiko nefesh u'meis. This is the punishment. V'gam alachas oramel. Says here. So this is. Let me keep it for you. Yeah. I'll autograph it afterwards. So the guys, you hear? This Rav Shimon in all your cases, guys, you're off the hook. I'm not chayiv until I'm killing guy X, but I know who X is. It's Harry, it's Sam, it's Fred. I'm killing him, and I know who I'm killing. If I don't know who I'm killing, if I leave it up in the air, or I think I'm killing one and it turns out to be another, that's not the Orav Loy. That's not him. Amakra, the Orav Loy, the Kama Love. Actually, Skavin Loy, underline that Loy. Actually, Skavin Loy to him. So again, Rav Shimon, that's Rav Shimon's Svara. That's Rav Shimon's. Got it, guys? Pata. You're Pata. Al Niskavin Loy, you're going to be Pata. You're going to be Pata. Al Niskavin Loy, you're going to be Pata. Makes no sense to us. Xeris HaKasav. Xeris HaKasav. Rashi, V'arav Loi, Kro Yiseiruhu, it's totally extraneous, because it could have written Ma'at, Nichtav Kiel Ish Soin L'Oreu V'kama Love. You didn't have to say V'arav Loi. You can say, I hate this guy, V'kama Love, and I rose up against him. Why are you saying V'arav Loi? Because you got to know who Loi is. You got to know who he is. If you don't know, that's it. Good. Ami Debei Rabbi Yanai, V'Rabbanon. Now, guys, what do Rabbanon hold? Guys, what do Rabbanon hold? The Skaving L'Hari Gezeh, L'Hari Gezeh Yechayiv. What do they do with the Loi? What do they do with Reb Shimon's Loi? L'Chari Reb Shimon's right. So what do they do with it? Right, they don't learn it. You're right. They don't learn it. But you've been learning long enough to know they got to learn it for something. Ami de Reb Yanai, Prat L'Zoyrik Evan L'Gav. You got a bunch of people, you take a rock, you throw it in, and you kill somebody. You don't know who the Loi is. There's a group of people there. Says the Chachamim, in that situation, you're Pata. Now the question is, who's that group of people? So again, the Orav Loi, says the Chachamim, if you're throwing into a group of people, and you don't know who it is, there's no Loi, because it's ambiguous, then you be Pata. Now who's this group of people? Let's see. Hey Chidami. Ilema de Ikatisha Kutim, Ve'echad Yisrael, Beinehem, 9 Goyim, and 1 Jew. Typically, the Ruba Kutininu. Why do we need a pasuk to tell me you're off the hook? You're off the hook because you go after Roiv, and Roiv will tell you that you're going to get a guy, and we know you're Pata. Yaakov Reyehu you need. Guys, you good? Inami Palgu Palga, and even if it's 5, let's say 10, 5 Jews and 5 Goyim, you'd still get off the hook. Suffolk Nefashis the Huckle, right? We have Suffolk Nefashis the Huckle, the Etzila Sa'eda, you're going to go ahead, what? And save the guy. In other words, have a svara to save the guy. Suffolk Nefashis the Huckle. What's the Suffolk over here? Who's it going to hit? I got 5 and 5. Who's it going to hit? It's Suffolk, right? Suffolk Nefashis the Huckle. So again, I wouldn't need a pasuk. The Chachamim are using Va'arav Loi, that if you throw in a situation where you're throwing into a pile of people, you need the Loi to tell me you're Pata. Fred the Gemara, why do I need the Loi? Miman of Shach. If it's Rav Goyim, Memela, it's going to be Pata from there. Even if it's half and half, you're going to be Pata al Suffolk. Like Tzricha, the Ikatisha Yisrael, the Kutiyecha B'neihem. 9 Jews, 1 guy, you're off the hook. What about Rav? The Havili Kute Kavua. The Kuti is Kavua. He's in front of you. The Chol Kavua. Kamachza al Machza, guys. Guys, we had this Gemara in Chulin, very famous Gemara. Tuma, but mainly with the butcher stores. You got butcher store, you got 10 butcher shops in the city. 9 sell kosher meat, 1 sells treifa meat, right? Good. 9 sells kosher meat, 1 sells treifa. In the store itself, you have a piece of meat, you don't know where it's from. You don't say that since roiv of the street stores are what? Are kosher, the meat is kosher. Since the suffix came in a kavua, we say kol kavua kamersa al nami, you can't eat the meat. If you find it in the street, we say kol de parish, meruba parish, anything that's separated. So this din of kol kavua. So here's your case, guys, over here. In the Chachamim needed in a case where you have 9 Jews and 1 guy, and you throw a rock in between, you're going to be chayav according to the Chachamim. Over here, you're going to be pata. Why? Because we'll say it's machzal mechza and suffix nefesh is the hakol, and we want to save the person. Look at Rashi says something. Kishmak, guys. Look at Rashi before it gets wide, about 5 lines up. The Alfina Mehai Kra, we learn from this pasuk v'kam v'arav loy, the chol kfua loy pachas miliyos nidain kimechza al mechza v'have safik nefashos lahakol umehacha nafkalei b'chol duchte, and here we learn out this is the source the chol kfua kimechza al mechza dami. This is the source of kol tarakula that we say kol kfua kimechza al mechza. Right. If it's interesting Taisus over here, later of Shimon, where do you know it from? Yeah. Since Rav Shimon loses the Ori like to teach me what Ashim is coming, right? How does he know the dinner called Kfua? So it's a Taisus over here. Man, you'll do the Taisus, second Taisus, then you'll do it.
What?
The Ran says could be the Rabbanon. Ran says later of Shimon, it could be the Rabbanon. The Ran says later of Shimon could be the Rabbanon. It's Taisus now over here. Okay, so let's guys, let's Chaz Riba. Let's gather around the wagons. Let's put it all together again. We have machloikus between the Chachamim and Rav Shimon. Mechavin l'har gazeh v'har gazeh. Says Rav Shimon. Let's go with the easy one first. Says Rav Shimon you pata. Why? Because it says v'orav loy. You got to go ahead. I'm mischavin loy. So if any shape or form you don't know at the time, you don't know which one it is, or even if you think it's this one and it turns out to be another one, that's a bigger chiddush. You're mechavim for the ma'isa riga on this individual, but you thought it was a different individual, you'd still be pata, because that's not loy. Says the Chachamim, no. Says the Chachamim that I had a kavanah to kill somebody, I killed somebody, and then that's enough. Why does he do Rav Shimon's din? He used it for a special case to teach me halacha that kol kavua. I have a group of people, 9 Jews and 1 guy. I take a big rock, I throw it in there, it kills somebody, even though the Rav tells me I'm going to kill a Jew. 9-1. I'm going to kill a Jew. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to give you that 9-1 is 50-50. And then I'm going to apply the idea of the suffering the flesh is the hakol to go ahead and seal say to get him off the hook. That's what we're learning right now.
I'm throwing the rock to kill.
I'm throwing the rock to kill. If I'm not throwing the rock, what does that mean?
I'm throwing the rock to scare people.
No. You have to be mechavim to kill, or else there's no chiddush. Now, Bishlema lirabonon. Okay, guys. Now we have we have a pasuk. The psukim that we said initially, right? I think it's this pasuk. No, it's not this. No, this is not the pasuk I want. Okay. We have a Gemara, a pasuk that says that 2 men are fighting. I have a chumash right over here. Pasuk that says if 2 men are fighting, it's in mishpatim. The nakfa isha hara, and they hit a pregnant woman, right? V'lo asain. And nothing goes bad happens to the woman. In other words, the woman lives. Let me get the pasuk. She loses a child. And there's no asin happening to the woman. Aneshi anesh. You're going to go ahead and pay the mevladais. From asin and if there's an asim, okay, so now what happens if the woman dies? We say come lay b'drab mine. Now, guys, Harry was mechavin to kill Fred. He mamish, but he kills Harriet. Kills Harriet. Come lay b'drab mine. He's chayiv misa, right? And he's part of made v'ladais. Why is he chayiv misa? It's mischaving lahar gezeh v'har gezeh. So that's the source for. That's one of the sources for kamlei. But you see that's a case of you be chayiv pashta. So like the chachamim, that parsha in the Torah comes out well. Bishlema says the Gemara. l'rabbanon. I mean, eskabim l'hargazeh bargazeh chayiv. Dichsiv v'chinatzu anoshim v'nak v'yishohara v'am Rabbi Laza b'matzos shebemisa kosim medaber. We're speaking about a fight, machloikis of misa. Dichsiv imosan yiyeh v'nasat nefesh tachas nefesh. So it makes sense. Why you be chayiv? Because even though mechav l'hargazeh, you have a source. El Rav Shimon hayvin asat nefesh tachas nefesh my ovidlei, but according to him you pata. So what do you mean nefesh tachas nefesh, guys? What do you mean, guys? Light Rav Chachamim and nefesh tachas nefesh chayiv, meaning you're going to die. Light Rav Shimon that you pata. What does he do with the nefesh? What does that mean? And the Gemara l'mamin, he's going to go what? Right? He's going to pay the worth of the isha. So guys, again, two men are fighting. One man wants to hit the other man and kill him. He kills a woman. If that's the case, says the Chachamim, he dies. Why? Niskavin l'haragazeh, the man, v'haragazeh, the woman, yechayev. Rav Shimon says Yipata. So why does he do v'nasat nefesh tachas nefesh? Says the Gemara l'mamin. It doesn't mean you kill him. It means he pays. Who does he pay for? The woman. Guys, uchid the Rebbe. The Tanya Rebbe Omer v'nasat nefesh tachas nefesh. Mamin. It's money. Ato Omer mamin ene ela nefesh mamish. Maybe it means you die. Nemar in the sin lamata. It says v'nasat nefesh tachas nefesh. The nemar in the sin lamaila. It says v'nasan b'flilim by Demei Vladais. The Chachamim are going to go ahead and collect. V'nasan, it says b'flilim. Guys, the nasan above is speaking about money. You're going to pay Demei Vladais for the baby. So too, v'nasata the nesina of nefesh tachas nefesh is also what? Money. There's also money. So that's malahala moment, just like by Demei Vladais above in Chaf Aleph, it's speaking about Dinei Maminis, it's speaking about a Chiyav Manin, Kan Maminis. Good? So guys, we have two shitas. Guys, outside. The shitas Chachamim, that if you hit a pregnant woman and she dies, right? So forget about the baby. If she dies, you're dead. Why? Niskabim l'haragazeh, v'haragazeh. Like Rav Shimon, you're not dead. You're going to pay money. You're going to pay money. Where do you know money? The scene in the scene. It says v'nasim b'flilim. It says nefesh tachas nefesh. Just like nasim b'flilim clearly is speaking about you paying for the value of the baby. So to over here, you're paying for the value of the woman. Okay. So we have two shitas.
How does he know Kamli then?
Man.
How does he know Kamli?
Who?
Rav Shimon.
Right, Rav Shimon. There's other sources for Kamli. There's other sources. Yeah. But
With the word low, gotta be the one you have in mind. Gotta be
that's a Chacham don't darshan that. Rav Shimon darshans, oh yeah, so therefore you pata. So what does v'nasat nefesh tachas nefesh mean? It means money. If it's kufa, that's why it means money. So now we're gonna have a third shita that you're not chayav anything. You're gonna have a third shita, you're not chayav anything. Okay. Amar Rava, Haide Tana de Bechizkiya. This is a Veltz limud. That they learn in Yeshiva of Chizkiya, mafkim in the Rebbe. It's not like Rebbe who says you pay money. Mafkim in the Rabbanan that you're going to pay misa. Good. Then this is going to be a source for kamle afilu b'shoigeg. Says the Tana Bechizkiya. Maka Adam, guys. The pasuk says in the same parsha. It says umaka behema yishalmena umaka Adam yumas. Maka behema, you'll pay if you hit an animal. Umaka adam, you must. If you hit a man, you'll die. That's as I state. So why do we darshan from there? The Tana Bechizkiya, Maka adam, Maka behema. Ma Maka behema. There's no leichalakta. We don't make a difference. Bein b'shoigeg, whether you hit it b'shoigeg, bein b'mezid, bein miskavim l'shem miskavim, bein derech yiridel derech aliyah l'poitcher mamin l'mechay mamin. Adam muad loylam, guys. Adam muad loylam. If you're damaging an animal, what? Yechayev. Any which way. So now, when the hekesh over here, guys, is when there you're going to be mechayev the animal, you're going to be put by the adam. So af maka adam like boy bein shoygeg lemezid bein miskavim l'shem miskavim bein derech yividel derech aliyah l'chayv mammon elo lepatray mammon. You're going to pat the mammon. Let's see Rashi for a second. Maka adam maka behema. First thin line. Lakach hukshu b'haikra. That's why they're compared to in the same pasuk. Maka behem yishalmenu, maka adam yumas. Umashma b'behema chayiv mamin, u'b'adam patami mamin. Because it says yumas. Tichsib behema yishalmena v'lay adam. V'hikesh l'cha akasiv p'tur d'shlum shel adam v'chiyuv t'shlum shel behema. So who pays money? Someone who's an animal, right? Who doesn't pay money? Someone hits an Adam. Good. So we're going to go ahead and make that hekish the same gather of where you're going to animals have to pay. That's the same gather where the Adam's pata. That's how you learn. Okay. Malahalam lo chalaktim miskaven. Come as we're going to see right now. Now, what does it mean? My shame miskaven. What do you mean not miskaven? Ilay mishem miskaven klal hanu shoygeg. And you already said shoygeg. Guys, you said shoygeg. What does miskaven mean? El pshita shem miskaven lezeh lezeh. You mechaven for one, and you get the other. Vikatani l'chayvay mamin el lepatra mamin. V'bar katolahu. If he's a bar katola, might itzrich lemiftere mamin. If he's a bar katola, you don't need a pata for money. You know why? Because it's kamle. Ella must be that what? Miskaven l'hargazeh v'hargazeh. You pata, and from everything. You pata in gansen. El lepatra mamin. V'bar katola ma'isrich. La bar katolahu. He's not a bar katola like Rav Shimon. La brahma maynahu, and not like Rabbi, not like the Rabbanan. So comes that guys have three shitas. Miskavin l'hara gazeh v'hara gazeh. Good, right? Says Chachamim, you're dead. Says Rav Shimon, you pay. Says Tani Bechizkiya, you're totally off the hook. You're totally off the hook. Now this is the source of Tani Bechizkiya that by shoygeg you say by kamle. I feel b'shoygeg. This is the famous Gemara in Elon Iris. Okay, says the Mishnah. Right, shenis arav ba'acherim. All right, they got mixed up with others, and we'll see what that means. Who the others are? Kulam pturim. They're all pata. Rabbi Yehuda, meaning they're all off the hook. Even the one that writes seach, they're all off the hook. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, no, they're not off the hook. Kainsin saw lekipa. You put them in prison, and you feed them barley until their stomachs burst. As I state.
Okay.
Um,
Or whatever.
we-
Yeah, well,
Take a look at Pei Aleph on the base, guys. Not a well-known Mishnah.
okay.
Pei Aleph on the base. A hiring nefesh shaloi be'edim. If you kill someone without edim, machnisim asal lekipa, you put him in a jail. Machilin esay lechem tsar umayim lachatz. So basically, causing his death. You can't kill him bidei adam. You can't give him hereg like he should get. So okay. So says Rabbi Yehuda, in this case, he gets mixed up with others. You're going to go ahead and not going to let them off the hook. You're going to put them in a keeper and feed them. We didn't get to that hash. Now, kaitz of the keeper. Kol chayve misas shenes arbu zeh bezeh. Any chayve misas that get mixed up with each other, you notice you had a gemar din for chayve misa. This guy was streifa. This guy was skila. This guy was chenek. This guy was herek. Right? They get mixed up. Niduni b'kala. Whatever the least, that's what you're going to get. Whatever the least you're going to get. And it's skolim ben Israfim. And here we have the machlokes of Shimon and the Chachamim that you know so well. And it's skolim ben Israfim. What's the mokala? Rav Shimon Oimer niduni b'skila. You're going to get skila because skila is more kal than streifa according to Rav Shimon. Shastreifa chamura v'chachamim Oimer no. Niduni b'streifa. You're going to get streifa. Why? Shaskila chamura. Amalam Rav Shimon. Ilu yisi streifa chamura like nothing lebas kayin shezinsa. If it wasn't more chamur, why in the world would they be giving to a bas kayin? In other words, obviously, what they're giving a bas kayin shezinsa. So Amaloi ilu hoisa skila chamura like nitl lemagade for loyvi of his kachavim. They won't give it to them. Okay, we'll see. We said that we had machlokes earlier that who, according to Rav Shimon, according to Chachamim, a bas kayin nisua gets reifa. A bas kayin arusa would get skila. Right? You hear, guys? A bas kayin when she gets reifa when she's in the suah. When she is an arusa, she still stays on the Muhammad the Gedin of skila. Good, like the Chachamim. Good. Now, people who chayiv sayif get mixed up with people who chayiv chenek. Rav Shimon and v'sayif, that's more kal. And we know all this already. It's a whole different lineup. The Chachamim's lineup is skila sreifa herek v'chenek, and Rav Shimon's lineup is sreifa skila chenek v'herek. Man acherim. Heshi's asking, who's the acherim? This guy got mixed up with other people. Who do you get mixed up with? Ilay acherim ksherim one Ritzeach gets mixed up with a bunch of Ksherim. Pshita, of course it's Pasha, you can't kill them. What do they do? Visu, Behol Lame Rabbi Yehuda, Kainsim Yisrael the Keeper. What? You're going to put these guys, these innocent guys, what are you going to do? So it can't be the Acherim are squeaky clean guys. Can't be, because it won't make any sense. So Amr Bavo, Amr Shmuel, Hacha B'Reitzeach Shalei Nigmar Dinoi. They're speaking about a Reitzeach that there wasn't a Gemar Din. Shenis Arve B'Roitzchim Acherim Shenigmar Dinoi Askinon. So over here you have Roitzchim that had a Reitzeach that had a Gemar Din. He gets mixed in with Roitzchim that did not have a Gemar Din. Right? Okay.
Kill him right away. How could it be the case itself?
Uncle Elliot. Uncle Elliot. I mean, it happened. Hesh. It happened. Guy ran away. Guy ran away, and there's a docket there. It's a busy day, and he jumped in. Again, these questions of Mitzias are, I'm saying it happened. You have a chavrusa over here if you want.
He changed his seat. No more.
Yeah, it happened. Okay, so he says, Rabbanan Savri, Ein goimrim dinai shel adam ela b'fanav. Now you have people waiting there for Gemar Din. So since it's not b'fanav, because you don't know who he is, Helkach kulam pturim. Therefore they're all pata, right? Therefore they're all pata. Rashi says el b'fanav. Keeping the in makir and I say le'avim b'fanav. Rashi's by the way question. Stand them all up there and it's b'fanav, right? And Rashi's telling you what? If you don't recognize who he is, it's not b'fanav. If you don't recognize who he is, it's not b'fanav. Okay?
He's not volunteering himself.
No, he's not volunteering. Rabbi Yehuda, mafterinu legamri nami loy. You can't let him totally off the hook. Keeping the right skim ninu. Since they're right skim, we can't let him off the hook. Hilkach, what do you do? Good. Now, Adam, everyone agree. Even Rabbi Yehuda would agree. It's a shikul chasam in a seifa. The first din of Adam mixed up with Adam, that even Rabbi Yehuda's made it too. It's speaking over here what? Where Shar and Nisl got mixed up with other Shvarim. So now, some say Parter, and he says no, then you put him in the keeper. You had one that didn't have a Gemar Din, got mixed up with Shvarim that had a Gemar Din. Rabbanan Sabri Kamisas Bailam Kachmisas Ashar. The Ein Goimrim Dina Shal Shar El B'fanav. Right? In other words, since we don't recognize the Shar didn't have a Gemar Din, it has to be similar to what the master. I mean, you're not going to go ahead and kill him. Hilkach Kulam Pturim. If you decide no, kindness of a keeper, you can go ahead and put him in a keeper.